Hello everyone. Tonight we're going to just show you a quick setup of how to align your materials for doing a feather folder. If you don't have cotton batting, that's okay. You can do it straight material. And what we're going to do is we have our materials. We have 2 cardboard pieces or foam board pieces. We have a ruler, and we either have some clips, paper clips, or even better is pins, so tailoring pins, and also a handy dandy, I have a fabric pencil, or you can use a pen. I wouldn't suggest a Sharpie that's too thick because it might bleed into your material too much. So, you know, if you use the super ultra fine one, it might be okay. But so I'll take one panel and I'll put it face up, and if it's got a design on it like this one, you will put this panel face up. If it's just straight solid color, it doesn't matter. Then you take your other panel. I have a beige one, and again, it's both sides are the same color. I'm gonna put it and line it nice and square with this other one, right? Try to line it up as straight as possible. Make sure that there's no overhang too much either way, right? So what I'll do is I'll line this up. All right, my fingers are getting old. So I'll line it up and make sure that I can have material underneath it, enough underneath it all the way around, right? I don't like the way that is, so I'm gonna turn this around this way and try again. I'll line it up. There we go. I feel better about this one. So I'll make sure, because I got to make sure when I sew it, I'm not going to miss the bottom material, right? So I got to make sure it's all the way around. So it looks good. I got material all the way around, right? And I want to make sure I get all the folds out as much as I can, make sure it's nice and smooth. Then what I'll do is I'll take my panels, my 2 panels, and I'm going to place them here about a good inch, which is about 2.5 centimeters from each of the edges. So make sure I got lots of room. And then I'm going to draw a straight line about 1 centimeter from the edge of the material and 1 centimeter from your panel, from your cardboard. So 1 centimeter from the edge of your material and 1 centimeter from the panel. I'm going to draw a line here. There. Again, I'm going to draw another one over on this side. Draw down here. I'm going to draw one on this side about 1 centimeter away from that panel. And I got about, so it's about a finger width, a finger width, a finger width, and a finger width at least here, and about 2 finger widths in the middle. So I'll draw a line down this side. And then one at the end. Again, at least a good finger width here. I'll draw it here. Now that I have that done, again, so the measurements are about a finger width here and a finger width here. A good finger, so this is about a finger width on the outside of all these panels, and about 2 finger widths in between. If it's a little bit more, it's okay. You just don't want to go too tight. So you get, that's about the measurement. So it's rule of thumb, rule of finger is 1 finger width on the outside of your panels and about 2 finger widths minimum on the inside. And what you're going to do then is you're going to take your pins, if that's the point of your pin, and I would pin in the opposite, in the direction I'm going to sew towards, that direction I'm sewing towards. If you use a sewing machine, it's much easier, just pin it. Usually I'd pin to the side so I can just run my sewing machine past it. But if you don't have pins, you can use old-fashioned paper clips or these fancy dancy ones. and you just clip your material all the way around. Oops, sorry. So I just put the paper clips on and I clip it so it can't move anywhere. And as you see here from this line, I have a lot of extra material, but once I sew it, we're gonna cut about 1 centimeter. Instead of 2.5 here, it'll be about 1 centimeter we'd cut, just leaving just a little bit of material around. So this one actually I cut a lot closer than that, but you know, when I turn this inside out, actually I cut it pretty close. You just don't want to cut that. You don't want to cut your thread where you sew it. You can cut it close, but don't, you know, just don't cut your thread. It's important. So this is how we sew it, is inside out. What we're doing is like a pillowcase inside out. Once we're done, shazam, we'll get it back like this, right? And we'll get it to this way. So it's like a big bag. So you'll first sew on one side, down the bottom, and then up the other side. And we'll leave the other top part open. And once that's sewn, then we'll flip it inside out like this. And we'll put our panels in. And once our panels are in, then we'll close up the top. And closing up the top, there's a couple different ways. You can fold in this way, fold in this way, and do, Tiff has a great X stitch, she calls it. It's a beautiful stitch. Or you can, you know, if you have a sewing machine, or you can do a couple folds and sew it that way. So as an example, here's a not completely finished feather folder. So same thing, I sewed the 3 sides, flipped it inside out, put my panels in, and then fold the top over and sew it across. This is kind of a little bit rough, this one, eh? But then we also will do a seam down the middle. That creates the hinge for our feather cases. Okay, so that's very, in a nutshell, how we set up our feather folders. And Tiff will have a beautiful one done for our stitch, which she calls the back stitch. Okay, so that's the general stitch we use for this, or if you use a sewing machine, then much easier. So thank you very much, and we'll see you at the next one.